Good. That's good. Go ahead.
Ask you real quick about Jordan Harris, and kind of went through his deal last year, but you said from the very beginning you want to give him a fresh look, and he talked a while ago about he had to really kind of regain his confidence, but you got to help him through that.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like he epitomizes at the very beginning what we said. You know, we're not going to judge, we're not going to assume, we're going to evaluate, and that's all I've asked from him, and not basing it on anything of the past. But you have to live up to the present to be ready for the future, right? I mean, I know that sounds kind of Dr. Philish, but it's really true, right? You've got to be able to do that, and every day you want to be working towards that. Yeah. And I coach him like anybody else. There's a high expectation level for him to improve. You want to help them get confidence. They have to know what real confidence is, and he's like any other player. Probably about 85 to 90% of those around the country. It's very, very easy to get distracted and try to control what you can't control rather than really, really dive into what you can. Mm-hmm. And when he's playing with confidence, when he's on the attack, when he's getting to the rim, when he's ready to shoot, when he's putting his defense first, I think that's when he's at his best.
Coach, these next couple games coming up, Texas Southern, Arizona State, were those games that you added to the schedule?
Yeah, they're all different. Yeah, Texas Southern, that looks pretty smart right now, doesn't it, after them going to Oregon? But no, working with John Bateman, putting our schedule together, those were good things. And so Texas Southern is playing really well. I mean, they really are. And they're shooting the ball. They play inside out. They play fast. They run a lot of ball screens. They are very, very effective and could easily be a team that's in the NCAA tournament again at the end of the year. So we've got to get better in every area, and guarding teams like that certainly give us trouble. So we need a phenomenal crowd for that. And Arizona State their ranking will probably even grow. I haven't looked at who they play before they play us, but they just continue to improve. They're so much deeper this year than what they were a year ago. Very, very active, can really shoot the ball. They're playing with Remy Martin, who was an outstanding freshman for them and in that league last year, is playing, but he's not as effective yet because of his injuries. But that will be another one that's going to be a tremendous atmosphere, test, challenge, whatever way you want to look at it on that Saturday, and we need a phenomenal crowd for that as well.
I guess kind of piggybacking on, like, what is your thought process when you get here and you realize there's some spots that need to be filled on the schedule? What are you looking for in a potential opponent to come here?
Well, I think here it's dates, and I think I'll learn a lot about that, as we move forward. There's dates, there's time of the week. Certainly we were going to schedule a game this weekend, and it ended up being a very, very smart move, right, when we left it open, and we'll do it again next year, right? We'll leave that open as far as home games. And I mean, I don't want to be coaching on a day that they're playing, right? I want to be able to watch it. But bottom line is you've got to have a good mix. You've got to start with home. What do we have to fulfill what we need at home? What are our best home and home situations that we can have? Certainly you get the exempt tournament fit in there. Next year it's Maui. After that we've got to start diving in more to what we really want with it. And then you want home and homes that are going to make sense. And they're going to make sense for television. They're going to make sense for recruiting. They're going to make sense for locale and maybe our alums and our fans. And put a lot of time into that. And then really pay attention to, with the non-conference games, with the guarantee games, who legitimately can go in there and be a real factor in their league. And because that helps your, used to help your RPI, now it helps your net ranking, and that's going to be really important as we move forward.
So y'all practice Saturday. What else is the plan?
I'm sorry?
Y'all will practice on Saturday.
Yeah, we're going to probably be recruiting this weekend.
Okay.
We're going to probably be, we'll probably be definitely involved in our recruiting, but we'll definitely be watching the game. There's no doubt about that.
Coach, not only is this coaching staff new for the players, but you haven't really worked with these other assistant coaches. How have you adjusted to working with your coaches, your colleagues?
I have a lot of respect for them. I think that's the first and foremost. I haven't been wrong in my instincts, and so it is a matter. We had a conversation. There's a lot of impromptus. I'm not a big meeting. Let's go sit in the meeting room for a couple of hours. I bounce around and watch film, and I'll ask somebody look at this or talk to somebody about that. But we ended up just like last night, having a conversation. It was Joe was in there a bit, but then it was really more Chad and Amir for a while. We were just talking about different philosophies of late game situations, special situations. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And then inquisitive ways so that they learn, which I think is really, really good, because you get into the season and you get moving, right? And I take. I learned a long time ago as an assistant coach that I was always, you're literally on stage every day, right? Like you don't get to go stand there and be off on the side and think about recruiting or think about this or that, like you're engaged. And I was trained that way as a coach. I never would have become a head coach at my age if I hadn't been. And when I became a head coach on my 33rd birthday, and I wasn't ready when I became a head coach, but I certainly had enough preparation to that point to have a real good idea on how tough this job is and how active you have to be and what kind of staff you have to have. So I look at that every day. I mean, everybody is engaged and active in the coaching. You know, I say we don't want wallflowers, we don't want excess baggage, and we don't want people that are weighing us down. Everybody's got to bring value, because you're either impacting the players on a daily basis or you're devaluing the players on a daily basis. And it doesn't matter if it's assistant coaches, if it's me, if it's a manager, if it's anybody in a support staff situation, you're either impacting them or you're devaluing them. And you've got to have an energy and efficiency and a teamwork mindset to make that work so that you're impacting them constantly.
What else besides engagement were you looking for in an assistant coach when you're looking at their resumes and stuff?
Oh, I think quality of coaching, right? Ability to recruit, ability to develop relationships, ability to, you never know until you go through it, you know, because you want to be with the same person when the times are tough as you are when they're going well. Because there's going to be more tough times, especially when you're starting out, than there are going well times. And you don't want somebody that's going to be different, right? And I want people that sometimes can offset my mood, right? Because I know where my energy's at, but I also know where my focus is at. I know where my intensity's at. Sometimes you want people that can offset that mood. And I think that's part of being a really good assistant coach. So that to me is a huge part of it. But everybody's got to have value. They've got to be able to bring something. It's not necessarily bringing their expertise to a certain thing, though that helps. Certainly everybody's brought something. You know, Joe, especially with what we're able to do with the zone and offensively. And I was hiring for that. I was not just hiring for recruits or location. I was hiring for people that could really bring things to us. Because I want to get better too, right? Like I know what I know and I know what I want to learn, but also want to be in a learning environment every day, because I think it's the only way you grow your program. So those were all aspects of it that I think were really good. But the other big thing is strong family people. And you just have to go on gut instinct when you get around them and see how important their family is to them, how important it is raising their kids, because in a sense that's what we're doing. I mean, we're the second family for most. This is their second family, but it better be as close to the line of a second family as it can possibly be. And that's what we're trying to build.
Tom, speaking somewhat of a recruiter, you got a time frame when you want to announce the kids you sign?
Yeah, I think we got to do that pretty quick. We'll do that quick, yeah. We'll get that out here pretty soon. Maybe we'll do it about 4 o'clock on Saturday where it'll get lost.
You don't want to do that now. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
God, come on, man. I
know that.
I'm just kidding. No, we'll do that soon.
Well, speaking of which, you mentioned 4 o'clock Saturday. I know it's kind of an off-the-wall type of question, but there are lessons that you see from what Kirby is doing in the football team. You try to, you know, in some ways pass along to your team, kind of maybe help them in some ways.
Well, I just think the aura of it helps them. I think those kids are friends with those guys, and they get a chance to see them. I think we have a lot of football fans. I don't think you can help but see that from them. I mean, and they'll get a chance to watch it, right? Like, I think that's huge. But I just think being in this environment, and they're walking arm in arm with those guys when it comes to class or, you know, ranking or eating, and, you know, things like that, so they know each other. So, and I don't think you can help but get better from observing what they're doing, from being around what they're doing, and especially for our players, having those friendships with those guys.
Are we watching as a team by chance? Or
I'm not sure yet. You know, we'll base some of it on what we're doing with recruiting.
Coach, these deflections, I'm just curious about. You know, I think you said that Clax had like 18 of them, you know, in one game. That was one of the most you've ever seen. Who's tracking those? And
we track those every day.
I mean, does like a kick on an inbound count as a deflection? I mean, what all goes into?
Yeah, we do count a kick, actually. Okay. Yeah, we do count a kick. Now, we're not trying to kick the ball, but we do count it, absolutely. But it's a fingertip, it's a hand, I tip it, you grab it. It's a deflection for me, it's a deflection for you. Block shots, I count charges, steals certainly. But it's anytime you get a hand on the basketball or finger on the basketball and create any type of activity on that ball. And I think that's what we're aiming for, because the term a long time ago was given to me, deflections are a barometer of active defense, and I don't think there's any truer statement to it. And if you teach a team just to get steals, or you're always trying to go for blocks, well, sometimes you're going to be out of position. You're going to gamble and lose sometimes, and we do block more shots, which is important, but it's all got to be in the sense of rotation. But playing with length, which has not been a strength of ours just yet, using both hands, using both arms, using our mouth. You know, we don't get a deflection for using our mouth, but it helps distort sometimes the offense. But those are the things that we've got to continue to get better and better at, because those are things that we can control. We can't control if the offense is going to turn it over. We can't control how they're going to pass it, but we can control our activity. We can control our movement. We can control both hands. We can control challenging a shot. And we can control how our hands go. We can control how much we stretch our wrists and hands. And those are the things that we're trying to get better at constantly. And most of my teams have always been very good in that area, and some have been phenomenal. And it's amazing how the phenomenal led to rings. And that's what we want to build towards.